Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here and welcome to another video. So, what do you think about this? What do you think about the possibility of Bray Wyatt, the Fiend Bray Wyatt, returning to WWE at Hell in a Cell? What do you say? Like this video if you want it to happen. Like this video if you think WWE should just re-sign Bray Wyatt, bring him back as an absolute monster, book him like he was always meant to be booked. Now, I know a lot of skeptics will say Bray Wyatt is done with WWE. He's never coming back. He's going to go to AEW. I really don't feel that Bray Wyatt, and again this is just my personal opinion, is the perfect fit for another promotion. I think he's the perfect fit for WWE if creatively he is booked right and in line with his personal vision. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say he would be booed out the building in AEW like Jim Cornette referenced. I just don't think he would be received as well in another promotion, just purely down to the fact that Bray Wyatt is so unique. He's a creative genius that needs, in a way, freedom. He needs, in a way, creative space to work his magic. And AEW, I feel, is just more in line with pro wrestling. It's about putting on a masterpiece in the ring. Now, Bray Wyatt can perfectly handle himself in the ring. He's not an inept WWE superstar of past. He can more than handle himself. However, he's more geared towards the creative side of things, the storylines, the general build. And that's what I loved about Bray Wyatt and the Fiend alter ego, is he was so unpredictable. You never know what was going to happen from week to week. And it was different. It was exciting. Every week I'd look forward to seeing what happened next. I thought the Firefly Funhouse segments were just genius. I wasn't actually that bothered when it came to the in-ring stuff. I really wasn't. It was just more about the portrayal of that character and how diverse it was. Now, when you look at Hell in a Cell, WWE aren't really pushing main event talent other than Rollins and Cody, match number 3 in Hell in a Cell. It's lacking a bit of star power, and generally when WWE aren't pushing star power, you think that something's going to happen. You think that they're saving something back behind the scenes. Now, this could just be a new Judgment Day member debuting within Hell in a Cell, or all the focus is solely on Cody and Rollins in this Hell in a Cell. And you couldn't help but ignore the reference that Cody Rhodes came out with, "See you in hell," when he referenced Hell in a Cell and his match with Seth Rollins. A Fiend reference. The fact that Hell in a Cell, just down to the red lighting, like kind of dark, sinister, kind of sadistic element of a Hell in a Cell matchup, kind of when you think of red, you just think of blood, right? And I don't know why, but I was just thinking of the Fiend and that character. It suits him. If you were to bring the Fiend back in any pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell would be the place to do it, right? Not to mention the fact that Seth Rollins and the Fiend have history. And arguably, you could go as far as to say Seth Rollins has never recovered since his rivalry with the Fiend. He hasn't. He really hasn't. Look at him. He's an absolute mess. It's like Joker-esque gimmick, and I mean a mess as in the nicest way. I really love the Seth Rollins character. However, he's losing constantly. He's getting made a mockery of new talent that's coming in from even a rival company. And you've got to think that's eating away at Seth Rollins in kayfabe. You've got to think he's sick and tired of just being this loser. He's never recovered. And I personally think, in terms of directions, you look at Cody and you look at Seth. Cody is going to exit this feud. I would say he's going to win this match at Hell in a Cell and go on and win Money in the Bank and then challenge in the main title picture. I can honestly see that direction. The way that Cody Rhodes is getting portrayed from WWE is a main event star. Sometimes I feel it's a little bit too much grandiose with the entrance. However, they're consistent, and I think it's been a good transition from AEW. People are certainly seeing him as that star now. Seth Rollins is on the downward spiral. Now, could the Fiend come in? Could there be that interaction? Could he cost Seth Rollins, change Seth Rollins further, or align with Seth Rollins? Now, Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt, behind the scenes, away from kayfabe, have made it no secret that they were not happy with the bookings through most of their feud, and especially the Hell in a Cell matchup of 2019. Bray Wyatt respects the heck out of Seth Rollins. and vice versa. Those two got a mutual working relationship behind the scenes. Bray Wyatt's teased that he'd love to work with Seth again, and if they did, they'd dance in the ring again together, and it would be better, essentially. But it couldn't get any worse, could it, right? Those two, from a professional standpoint, would want to make that rivalry remembered. And to make it remembered, correct all the wrongs from before. If Bray Wyatt was to come back into WWE, I think it would be so different this time around. I honestly feel that he would be given more creative freedom. I feel that he would be given a direction that is clear, a direction that's meaningful. WWE are sorting themselves out a little bit more at the moment, and you can say all you can say about the tag team titles and the main event title picture at the moment, but I feel they're being more consistent with their bookings. I feel that just the way they portrayed Cody Rhodes coming in and giving him that control, I feel they would do that with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt coming back would not be through WWE changing their mind to bring him back. It would be more, they welcome him with open arms, I feel. I honestly feel Vince McMahon would welcome Bray Wyatt with open arms. I think it would just be down to whether Bray Wyatt is happy with the direction of his character and whether it's going to get booked properly. To work with Seth and to create some magic second time round and get it right would be a good booking. Bring the Fiend in as a face, Seth Rollins is the heel. You can't really go wrong there. The Fiend doesn't need to be in that main title picture initially, early on. If he wants to go and attack Roman Reigns, which I know a lot of people call him for that can happen down the line. That doesn't need to happen now. I think fans would just be happy to see him back in WWE if he chooses to return. And I honestly feel Hell in a Cell would be the place for a character like The Fiend. It just makes sense. What do you think? I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts and opinions. Of course, if he did return at Hell in a Cell, would that mean he'd be on Raw? Alexa Bliss is on Raw, so you can't really ignore the past happenings. And is that going to be a potential banana skin down the line when it comes to The Fiend? Or are they just going to want you to forget about it, that Alexa Bliss has just had all this therapy and now she's back to some sort of normality, even though she's carrying the Lily doll for no other reason than WWE just want to sell more Lily dolls? And yes, there was a whole therapy thing where it was, if you don't have Lily by your side, you won't be cured. But come on, WWE. It's clearly to sell some more merchandise. Bray Wyatt sells you a heck of a lot of merchandise, so getting him back would benefit both ways. To wrap up, I can't help but ignore a podcast also I was listening to the other day. I was listening to the Matt Hardy podcast, and he was referencing his relationship with Bray Wyatt. It was a very good working relationship, but also interestingly was asked about his relationship, his as in like Bray Wyatt's relationship with Vince McMahon, and said it was an odd relationship. He said it was almost like a father-son relationship where Vince would praise Bray when he did things really well, and absolutely grill him and almost tell him off when he did things wrong. So that's interesting. That's really, really interesting. There was also a pitch at one point for the Willow Jeff Hardy character that we saw, of course, at Impact. A broken Matt Hardy and The Fiend to actually align themselves with one another. But Matt Hardy thrown that out the bag because obviously he wanted to go and join AEW and didn't feel that WWE would push that consistently. So that was interesting also. But as an exit from WWE with Bray Wyatt, we don't know the ins and outs, but if it was an explosive relationship, almost a father-son dynamic between Vince and Bray, well then clearly they're very close. And maybe it was just a headspace thing. Bray just needed to get out there for a bit, get his head clear. They used the budget cuts as an excuse, and then when he's had time to think about what he wants to do, and we know he's gone away and done some work in Hollywood, that he may have always been coming back. Or it could have just been volatile as heck and he's never going to come back. But it remains to be seen. He might not return at Hell in a Cell. Let's face it, he probably won't. But it makes a lot of sense to bring him back and to get involved in the Seth Rollins matchup, especially when they have history. Makes a lot of sense. What do you think? Thank you so much for watching this video. Be really appreciative as always if you can like this video, share this video, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you in another video, and we'll see what unfolds in Hell in a Cell.